In today's video, we're going to be running through my multi-portfolio strategy. And the reason I've done this is a lot of people have been asking me the transition between my portfolio, what is happening with it. I thought I'd get this out there for those who have been wondering. As I have mentioned in my videos, I will be divesting to growth very soon. And the reason for that is I've hit around £3,700 a month as of this week, if we go off the weekly income from this week. So I'm at that nice sweet spot now. Once I hit £4,000 a month, I won't be investing into any more income. And it's going to be time to invest into the growth. Long term, this was always going to be one of the plans of adding some really growthy assets into there long term. It has come around a bit sooner than what I thought, so I thought this video is going to be a great video to run through. If anyone's struggling with what kind of strategy they want to go down, whether they're a growth investor, income investor, high yield investor, dividend growth investor, this kind of video, I will be explaining all my different portfolios and what I'm going to be using to get to my end goal. And I think it's going to be a very informational video for everyone. So it all started with investing £100 a month. And I started this because I wanted to build my freedom. I wanted to make something that I didn't have to work. And I've really started to build towards that. I can really see how this can become financially free. Now I'm hitting nearly 100K, hopefully 100K by the end of this year, if not at the beginning of 2026. And I'm getting to building my freedom, which is great, and I'm doing it one deposit at a time. Every time you put a deposit in, you are building your freedom, and that's one thing you have to get in your brain. You have to switch this mindset from it being a slog and wanting to do it. And once you start seeing that snowball rolling down a hill, you really think, well, this is really working now, because I was like you to start with. It's hard to see the difference when you're getting £1 dividend or you're getting £10 worth of growth coming in. You can't really see that snowball at the beginning, and it's not until you get to a certain stage and you think, wow, this is really possible now. So that's why Charlie Munger always said, getting the first 100K is the bitch, but once you get it, you can slow down. And I'm really starting to see that now. I'm nearly 100K, so it's not just about numbers anymore to me. It's about getting the freedom and my time back. I'm currently a very busy person, and that's because I want different with my life. I don't want to live a normal lifestyle. I want to live financial freedom. That's what I want. And getting to that means that I have to do things differently to what a normal person may do. And this video will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So it all started in February 2023. We'll just go a little bit before that. I didn't really deal with the stock market before 23. I was doing crypto. It started at COVID. When what happened, I was working a job on site at the time. I was a roofer originally, and COVID came, and then we didn't have a wage. And I was like, something needs to change. They just kicked us off a site, and then we didn't earn any money. And because I was self-employed, we couldn't get the money what the government was giving out, because we wasn't actually employed. We were self-employed at the time. And the real issue with that was I had no money to even feed my family to start with. So from that day, I decided to go out and make my own money. And then that's when I started a business of my own in 2020. And I've never looked back. I've never had a day off work since. And now my business employs, I think I've got about 15 employees at the moment. Yeah, things have gone well with the business side of things, but also that comes into terms with my mentality for the stock market as well, because this is something that I need to do, because you can't always rely on a job. And I've actually been through that. So the government can just stop your money like that. So this is why I originally started crypto investing. And then I actually fell in love with the stock market after that. So I was researching for a couple of years, learning, educating myself before I even started. So for 3 years, I didn't actually get started. And I started in February 2023. And my first deposit was £100. And since that day, I've actually increase the deposits. I fell in love with compounding. I read a book by Warren Buffett, Compound Interest. If you haven't read that book, go and read it. It actually made me fall in love with compound interest. And since that day, I actually started with £100 of deposit, and now I invest over £3,000 a month. It's anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000. Sometimes it's over 3,000, sometimes it's under. It just depends on the month, but that just goes to show that you can really start building something when you really fall in love with something. And I absolutely love investing, and it's definitely something that is going to bring me financial freedom, and I can slowly see that now. So the next phase isn't about chasing payouts, it's about sustainability. So we'll just dig a little into the strategy so far. So the first target was between 4 to 5k a month. That is half of my target, and now this month I've actually earned 3,700 per month across all my portfolios. That's what the payment was with this week, with the weekly payments. So over the next couple of weeks, or maybe the next month, once I had a bit more capital in, I'm probably going to hit that 4,000 mark, and then it's going to be full on adding to growth. And I've got a long road ahead of me adding all these assets to growth. And we're going to dig a little deeper into the strategy in this video. I think it's going to be very informational, and I'm going to do my best to explain everything on the multi-portfolio strategy that I am using and the reason why I picked these. So the second target, which was always originally the target since I started, was £10,000 a month. To get to that target, I want to get to half of the target, which is about 4 to 5k, and then reinvest all the dividends back into the same assets, while I'm also growing out all my growth assets. So we've got the compounding of the income portfolios on its own, while I'm adding all my capital into growth. So then we're seeing snowballs on both sides, on the growth, on the income, and also on some of my crypto assets as well. The kind of strategy I'm going to use, which is, I think, a great strategy, because one thing I do want to mention with investing is you really need to do what you love. And what I mean by that is growth does not get me excited at all. And I know some people may disagree, but you're not me and I'm not you. And that's one thing you've got to understand, that you need to do whatever investing style you really can do for the rest of your life, because that's how it's going to perform, and that's how you're going to stick to it for 20, 30, 40 years. Because if you're doing something you don't like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to want to deposit. You're not going to want to stick to the strategy. You're going to be constantly flipping and switching strategies. And that's really not what you want to do, because you're going to stunt your compounding when you do that. So this is why I've got a multi-portfolio strategy, because I really love income investing. I really love getting the payouts, the dividends. And for me, that's my core strategy, and that's what I love doing. But I need growth in here at the same time, 100%, to make this work, because I want to build wealth, not just be financially free. I want to build wealth at the same time as living out of my brokerage day in, day out off of the payouts. So this is the journey to freedom. We started at 2023. We are now investing £3,000 a month in 2025. And financial freedom in 2030 is round about what I think I can do this in. So that would have been 7 years since the beginning. I think I can hit financial freedom in 2030, living out of my brokerage account, my portfolio, while building my wealth consistently. But that doesn't get me to the final point where I'll be like, this is now my legacy. This is now for the family, or my daughter, my son. It needs to be 2040, because I need 20 years of compounding wealth and compounding income. That is when I'm really going to set a legacy for my family. So why growth now? High yield has given me income, and I've hit a lot of targets so far, and I'm at the target quicker than what I ever thought we were going to be. And I think with the new funds coming, it's really snowballed and helped me get closer to my targets. Originally, the income target that I had before any of these funds come out was 10 years, and then another 10 years compounding the growth side of things, depending on what assets I had inside my portfolio. But high yield gives you income, and the growth builds my wealth. So it's not just about the cash flow, it's about the freedom that lasts with the growth and the income compounding. So this is the new foundation for my portfolio. So we'll start with the beginning. So we've got the UK income. This is 12.5% of the full portfolio. So now you can see how big my actual portfolio is going to be. There's quite a lot of sides to it. This is just the beginning of my portfolio. The income is the smallest part of my portfolio. So I've done most of the legwork on 2 sections of my portfolio so far. So the UK income is all in the ISA, tax-free, and that target was £1,500 to £2,000 per month tax-free. And the reason for that is I want that to compound over time, and I wanted between 1,500 to 2,000, and that is so I can pay my bills comfortably every month. And then we have the taxable US income, which will be 25% of the full portfolio. That will have around £3,000 to £4,000 per month inside that. Right now, I did work my income out between the UK and the US, and after withholding tax and the conversion from dollars to pounds, including the UK and the US, this month I will have it around 3,700. That's with withholding tax took off, so I'm getting close to these numbers now, between 4 to 5k, which is great to see. And I think that is going to be a really nice, comfy target where I can then put these assets, all the dividends, just reinvest back into the asset and let it compound for a year or two while I'm building out my growth. That is now going to be the next part of my portfolio. So the next part of the portfolio is 5% into crypto. And I'm going to dig a little deeper into this side of things. I really believe in crypto. I did crypto before the stock market. I really fell in love with the stock market. I really wish what I did was kept a really small allocation on the side in crypto, but I didn't do that. So now that's really what I want to do, just to get that wealth in there, get that growth in there over time. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to do great. That's the only 2 cryptos that I'm going to invest in. That's the only thing that I like. I do hold them already, but I didn't hold them from 2020. I did make some decent money back then, but I did end up selling it all out to come into the stock market. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, I've got a very small holding again. I only started a couple of months ago doing daily buys on them, and I will probably hold these for 5 to 10 years. I'm thinking long term, Ethereum is going to be tokenized by Wall Street. When they tokenize all the stock market, it's going to be put on Ethereum, and that is my honest opinion. So that's what I'm betting on. I'm not betting on short term. I'm betting on long term Ethereum to be used by Wall Street, and we're seeing big companies buying Ethereum and Bitcoin now, so it's already started. Next up is Bitcoin. We all know this is digital gold, and this is primarily to fix the US dollar situation where the banks can just print money. So this is why I'm also holding Bitcoin. Anyone who's been in Bitcoin since early days has done very well. I don't think having a small allocation to crypto will hurt this portfolio one way or another. So that's the crypto done. Next up, we have 57.5% in growth. And the way I look at this is I am investing in highly volatile beta companies along with big tech such as the Mag 7. This is all going inside my ISA tax-free. And the reason why I've done this is because now I've got the US income, which is a taxable. It has freed my ISA up to put money into growth. As before, what I would have had to do is put a higher allocation into the UK income, and then I wouldn't have had allocation in the ISA for growth. It would have been in a taxable. So either way I look at it, I'm going to be paying tax on something. So this gives me allocation to put the growth in there. And if I hold growth for long enough, I'm probably going to be paying more tax over time on the growth. So it's great that the growth's in the ISA. Big companies, big tech, AI. I'm a big believer in Broadcom. These are the type of companies that I'm going to be investing in. And this is for long-term wealth. For example, I want to buy property abroad somewhere when I get a bit older, when I'm in my 40s. and I really want to grow my wealth and change my family's life long term. And this is the reason why I do it. You've got to understand why you want this. You've got to set goals, and you've got to understand that if this is really what you want, you really need to stick to the goals, because you don't get here by purpose. This is not luck. This is discipline. You have to be disciplined on what you do, and you have to stick to it no matter how much you don't want to do it. Today is a great example. Things have gone wrong at work. I started at 6 a.m. this morning. What happened is people didn't turn up for work. Things went wrong. It's just been a crap day, to be honest. But here it's 10 past 10 now, and I'm still recording this video. And that's because I did say to myself, oh, I can't be bothered to record this video. But at the end of the day, you've got to be disciplined, and you've got to do it even if you don't want to do it. And that is not luck, that is discipline. And that's how you get into a position of owning multi-millions over a course of 20, 30, 40 years. So do it when even you don't want to do it. So we've got 57.5% in growth. So as you can see, the highest allocation is in growth. The reason I put growth crypto right under here is at 10% is because I've got 90% in big tech, AI companies, and then 10% of the growth portfolio is in MSTR and Bitmine. MSTR, which obviously holds Bitcoin, and Bitmine, which holds Ethereum. So those are a portion of the growth portfolio. And that's the foundation. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to know if you've got a foundation like this, what you're setting for your portfolio. Do you own crypto? Do you own growth? Do you own income? Drop your allocations below. Let me know what percentages you are to income, growth. I'd love to know. So right now I'm 31 years old. Like I said, I started at 23. So it's only been a couple of years since I've been doing this. Just after Christmas, we'll be 3 years in. Hopefully by then, that's my target. I'll have it 100K in 3 years. And having 100K is 25% to being a millionaire once you learn how compounding works. That is absolutely amazing. But I refuse to settle for average. And that's why I've done it in such a short space of time. Because no matter what, there's been times where I've not even had the money. So I might have been paid from work, and it's been a crap week, for example. I've still invested all my money because I don't want to settle for average. I want to change my life. And that's why I work 7 days a week. I work 12 to 16 hours a day. I work through my business through the day. Then I come home, do content, do my portfolio. You've got to understand that you've got to want differently if you don't want to settle for average. Every deposit you make, every reinvested dividend, every late night that you're researching about stocks, you're working for more money to put into your portfolio. Every time you do that, it's a step close to financial freedom. And you really need to understand that. If you want to be financially free and not work a job for the rest of your life, you can really change your life in 5 to 10 years. This kind of thing should be learned in school. It shouldn't be up to people to come to YouTube to learn about it. This is not shown when you go to school. They don't want you financially free. And that is the massive issue with this. That's why people think you need to work till you're 60, 70 when you really don't. You can really change your life in 10 years. It's just about setting those goals and sticking to them. And this is why I do what I do. So the power of compounding. Compounding does not lie. All it needs is time. It does not care about your feelings either. If you're tired, compounding does not care if you're tired. It will compound either way. And that's why you need to get as much money as possible to compound. Because once you get into those high numbers, you can really see it compounding. If you've been a viewer from my channel from the start, you have already seen this portfolio. I think I first put the portfolio online, it was possibly 30K. We're at 90 now, very close to 90. I'll be doing my net worth video at the end of this month. It's the 17th, so probably next week or the week after. And I'm hoping we're over 90K, depending on how the market has dips, because we've had 2 dips since, and it dropped in the portfolio a bit. But if we go back into positive next week. I'm sure we'll hit over 90k, but we'll soon see. And the higher you go from 90 to 200 to 500 to a million, just ever high the number is, the more compounding. I would advise you to read that book. It really does help. I will put in the comments below a link to the book that I'm talking about. So I want to prove to people that financial freedom can happen, because you hear a lot about financial freedom, but in the UK, who do you know was financially free? Not many people. Maybe some older people in the 50s and 60s who's done well with a business, they've got real estate. I'll give a shout out to Gary. He's in our Discord. He's done very well early doors. I think he's in his 40s. Don't hold me to that. He may be 36. Either way, he's a very young guy. He did very well with some rental properties. I think he's got 10 rentals, so he's financially free, living off his rentals, and then he's got a stock portfolio on the side, doing very well off that. So that's a good example of this can happen. Financial freedom can happen. But do you think Gary works for this? Or do you think it just happened by luck? No, he really tried, and he got one rental after another, and then he got 10, and then he's able to live financially free. This doesn't happen by luck, it's discipline. And that's something you really need to have a think about. So that's why I'm doing this. It's not just for me, it's just like Gary is doing it for his family and for everyone who believes it's possible. This is going to be my life's work. It is not just me just giving it a go. This cannot fail. This is my life's work, and this is what I plan to do. And I won't be stopped until it's complete. Currently at 90k, we're going to get to 1 million. And if I ever stop before 1 million, I want everyone to call me out and say, can you remember when you said you were going to get to 1 million? So hold me to that if I ever don't get to 1 million. The compounding effect of reinvesting every dividend will get me to 1 million, and also including the crypto and the growth as well. That is what's going to get me there. And my pure discipline every week, investing even when I don't feel like it. So guys, if you're new around here, please subscribe, follow, and join our movement. We've got a Discord in the link below if you want to join us. And also, just remember guys, this isn't luck. This is work. This is discipline. Financial freedom is getting closer every time I deposit my money. I can really see the snowball moving now. It's not just investing for me. This is my life's work. So guys, we've got a community on Twitter. We recently set up last week. I think we've got over 200, 300 people in there. I will put the link below to my Twitter in the description. So please join us on Twitter. We have talks with fund managers, and also there's a lot of great investors in there as well, where we can talk freely on X as well, which is even better. So thank you very much guys. Just in case you missed it, my UK ISA just hit over £50,000. That is just one account. So in case you missed that portfolio review, it'll be right on your screens right now. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.